Did you know at this very moment, someone is on Amazon and Etsy actively looking for a quality coloring and activity book to add to their shopping cart? The only question is, will it be yours? Since you're listening to this podcast, hence the name of the show, it's pretty safe to assume that you have a keen interest in creating and selling your first or next coloring book. And it's for that reason I want to assure you you're in the right place. And I'd like to help you make it a reality by inviting you to check out the Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program, the first of its kind complete A to Z course that features live weekly coaching, resources, templates, and an extremely supportive online community, all designed to assure that you create a standout in-demand coloring book that you'll actually enjoy creating, promoting, and selling. Imagine the feeling of knowing somewhere in the world someone is adding your beautiful new book to their shopping cart, investing in a piece of your creativity. Enrollment is open and you can get started by going to coloringbookcreatorcourse.com. That's coloringbookcreatorcourse.com. You're listening to the Coloring Book Creator Podcast, episode 40. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about why short form video is one of the fastest ways to sell more books. So stay tuned. We are now approaching the final month of the last of 2023 at the time I'm recording this. And of course, that means that we are full on into holiday season shopping mode. It's official now. So with that said, you probably have, if you created your own book, of created books or any other type of creative product, you are now fully thinking about how can you sell more books? How can you sell more of your creative products or maybe even little workshops or whatever you're working on this holiday season? Well, if that's you, whether you have anything ready for sale for this holiday season or you just want to get some inspiration for the new year coming up and how to sell more of your creative projects, you definitely want to listen to this episode. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go so far as to say you don't want to go to sleep on this one because I honestly believe you're going to be sorry you missed out. Now, of course, if you're online at all, you know that short form video is all the rage. We see it on Facebook. We see it on Instagram, which is where it kind of started. Of course, TikTok came onto the scene and basically blew up short form video and turned it into the stratosphere, really. YouTube, everyone is jumping on the short form video bandwagon. And you might be listening to this and thinking, well, I don't really know if I actually want to be on camera all the time. Well, I'm going to tell you that you don't have to be on camera all the time or really at all if you don't really want to be. But you definitely, honestly, truthfully can't afford to go to sleep on short form video. On video, period, but definitely short form video. Why short form video? Well, because we have short attention spans. People are looking for a little quick dopamine hits to sort of get them engaged in your content. And this is perfect, actually, for us as coloring book creators because we have something that's visual. And to be honest with you, people don't necessarily always need to see us on camera. They do want to see the books and things we've created. So this is also perfect for you if you are not a fan of being on camera. Recently, I completed teaching a 3-day boot camp called Profitable Pages. And one of the things that I gifted everyone who signed up for that mini workshop series, and I'll actually put the link in the show notes if you're interested in getting the access to those recordings, I created a special report called 36 Short Form Video Ideas for Coloring Book Creators. And if you would like to get a copy of that special report, I'm also going to provide the link to that also here in the show notes for you to grab that as well, which I highly recommend that you do. Now, again, if you're in that space where, well, I don't really know if I want to actually be on camera, as I've said, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to always be on camera or at all if you don't want to be. But I do feel that you need to be paying attention to video. Now, one of the things that I had my students do that was in the boot camp was I asked them to create what I called an identity statement. And so that identity statement was a post that they could post on social media, just announcing their book and the fact that they have published a book, that they themselves are now a published author. I recommended that they have at least a photo of themselves taken either holding their book or someone taking a photo of them with their book next to them. And that's what one of my mentor students, Christine, did. And as a result, she's gotten over 90 engagements on her post. And it's also resulted in some book sales. So if you are in that sort of quandary space where you're sort of like, well, I'm not sure if I really want to be on video or my face shown at all, I encourage you also to reconsider that as well, because again, people buy us before they buy our products. So that's important to actually work with yourself on that. And I do have an episode on identity that I talk about that as well. And I'll be doing more conversations about that also, because I feel it's the cornerstone of everything that you do. So anyway, I digress for a moment. I wanted to tell you about this new report that I created that I gave to all of the students of the Profitable Pages Bootcamp. And again, I'll provide the link in the show notes to grab a copy of that for yourself. It's free. But what I want to talk about today is a short form video. Now, the reason why a lot of times we don't make more content consistently, no matter if it's video or written post or, with an image or what have you, is that honestly, we just don't know what to post about. Our minds go blank with ideas. So that's the number one reason why I made this report. The second reason why I did it is because I know that if you can get yourself out of that space of, I don't know what to post, that's when your creativity can start to kick in and you can actually start implementing the things that I've given you in this report so that you can get yourself out of the way and get into doing the thing that you most want to do and most need to do, which is create content that will get people to stop the scroll in the news feed, pay attention to what you shared, and invite them to purchase your books or, again, your other products, because, again, we want to make sales, correct? That's why we're doing this. Alrighty, so I was going through the report and I was thinking about an additional layer to take the ideas that I gave you in the report and how you can add this other layer onto it in order to really supercharge your ideas and what you would make content around. I honestly am so inspired by this. I'm actually going to do a workshop on it that will accompany this free report. So when you go and download that free report, I'm going to also send out an invitation to join me for a free bonus workshop where I'm going to deep dive into what I'm going to share with you today on this podcast episode and tie the two together and really supercharge how you can use those 36 ideas to start making your own short form video content. Alrighty, so let's move right into it. This is a resource that I have had for probably over a year now, and it's one that I'm going to put myself on blast here. I'm going to say it. I honestly have gone to sleep on it myself. And you may have heard of it, so when I tell you what it is in a moment, you might have go, oh, yes, I've heard of that. But if not, this is your first time hearing about it. It's a really great resource. I highly recommend that you check it out. So this untapped resource that if you use it in conjunction with the 36 Ideas Special Report, you will be able to create content that will literally help you sell the books. It'll actually make the books sell themselves, really. So this untapped resource is called National Calendar Day. And you can find them at nationalcalendarday.com. Again, I'll put the link in the show notes. And it's a totally free service. How it works is basically this. People literally just decide, okay, I'm going to make today National Pie Day, or I'm going to make it National Play Outside Day, or I'm going to make it National Day Without Art Day, or I'm going to make it National Ice Cream Sandwich Day. And these are literal holidays that are set up on this website called National Day Calendar. So it's not that there's some big governing body that decides on what day can be a certain day. It's basically people just decide, okay, I want to make today National Hot Dog Day or National Ice Cream Sandwich Day, and they submit it. I first heard about National Day Calendar years ago when I used to write for a food blog. And we always had to find new ways to come up with content. So since I wrote about all different kinds of food, more specifically food trucks, I found like there was National Taco Day and National Hot Dog Day and all of these kinds of things. But what it was it's a way to create content around a manufactured event to put on social media. That's what the original concept behind this was. So what I What inspired me to do, and what I'm going to kind of walk you through today, and I'm actually going to use one of my coloring book creator mentor students. I'm going to talk about a day that's actually on National Day calendar and how she can take her book and position it with this quote unquote holiday and create content around it that can get engagement on her social media and hopefully, ideally, sell more books. So this is how it works. One of my mentoring students her name is Margaretha, and she created a book called Tea and Me Time. Now, her book features coloring pages and journal pages, but it also includes recipes for a variety of savories and sweets, because her whole concept behind her book is around the concept of afternoon tea. So if you're familiar with that, afternoon tea it comes from the British, but it's where people go to a nice restaurant or what have you, and they have teas served to them with a variety of different pastries and different sandwiches and things like that. So her book is around that theme. She's a student of mine. I helped her publish her book. She's actually done 3 books now. And so what I did was I went into National Day calendar and I looked up, is there a National Tea Day, or specifically, is there a National High Tea Day or Afternoon Tea Day? I didn't find a specific one for afternoon tea, but I did find a National Tea Day. And I believe it's April the 21st, if I'm not mistaken. So this is what I came up with using one of the ideas from my 36 ideas for short form video special report. Idea number 11 in my report is specifically around coloring, book, and tea. That was one of the ideas that I actually put in that report. Now, not thinking about at the time when I did that was speaking specifically about Margaretha's book. I was thinking in terms of creating a video where you're coloring a page in your book while you're sipping tea. Now, it could be coffee, it could be a glass of wine, it could be cocoa, it could be whatever you wanted to do. But tea was what I used in the special report. So once I realized that I do have an actual idea in the report, and there is an actual National Tea Day, I said, this is perfect. So what I did was I came up with a concept for a video that she could create, that she could post on her social media to increase engagement, to connect with her followers, her audience, and of course, invite them to go and check out and ideally purchase her book, which is called Tea and Me Time. So what I'm going to go over with you now is the breakdown, what needs to happen to execute this idea. So let's start with our basic ingredients. We have a national holiday that's designated to tea. We know what that is. We have a book that ties to that holiday that is published and ready for sale. Now, if you don't have a book ready for sale, that's okay. You can also still use this strategy to create engagement and to also kick off starting your email list, which I recommend highly that you be doing, period. So you can do something like, if you have some sample pages that you could give away that's going to be potentially included in the final book that you do, you can use those pages as what we call in the internet marketing world a lead magnet. And so you can direct the listener or the viewer of your video to go to a specific website or web page that you set up. They can enter their name and information, or they can direct message you. If you don't have a web page set up, that's fine. They can direct message you on Instagram or Facebook or whatever platform that you're using in exchange for those free pages. So again, if you don't have your book done, don't worry about that. You can still use this strategy. As a matter of fact, if your book isn't done, or if you're in the process of creating the book, I recommend you start doing this anyway, because it will help you to start creating awareness around yourself and your book, and ideally getting a list of people who may potentially buy the book once it's done. All right. So again, if the book's not done, don't worry about it. You can still use this. Okay. So going with what my original concept was, we have a finished book ready to sell and a link to where we can send people to go buy it. We have a reason for making content. In this context, it's National Tea Day. And we now need an idea, which we can pull from the special report, the 36 ideas special report. and use that holiday with our product that we're selling and create a piece of content that's going to get engagement and ideally lead people to buying your product, in this case, her book. So let's move into idea execution. You're going to need basically three things. You're going to need, in her case, now this isn't her case, she's going to need, obviously, a cup of tea. Okay, if you're talking about tea, National Tea Day, you need a cup of tea. So we're going to have a cup of tea. And then I would recommend, because she features recipes in her book, that she actually prepares something from the book. Doesn't matter what it is, just prepare something. Because again, when people can see her drinking the tea and enjoying whatever it is that she prepared from the book, that ties into what's featured inside the book as well. So if they see the cookie or they see the sandwich or the scone or whatever she made, if they can see both of those things in the video, that's going to also connect her finished product to them and to her and what she provides. Now, once you've got your props, in this case, the tea, and I recommend a prepared recipe that's right there available. Then I would also recommend getting a page or having the book open, so having her book actually open, and film herself coloring a page in her book, or it can be flipping through the book as she's sipping her tea, talking about the tea that she's chosen to drink and or the pastry or savory that she's prepared. Alrighty. So the premise of the video can be this. Did you know that it's National Tea Day? Or National Tea Day is a holiday that happens every April. So this is December when I'm recording this. She doesn't have to wait till April to do this. She can do this any time of the year. So it could be one of those, did you know? That can be sort of the topic of the video. So it could be, did you know that, and again, I'm not 100% certain about this date, so I believe I saw it was April 21st. So did you know that April 21st is National Tea Day? Well, I'm all about tea. I love tea. I drink it all year round, not just on National Tea Day. But I want to actually tell you about how you can make every day a National Tea Day for you. First, you start out with a great cup of tea. Then she can talk about the tea that she's chosen, whatever flavor it is, or maybe brand it is, or what have you, and maybe what she prepared in it. Maybe she added milk, or maybe she added lemon, or maybe a wedge of like a little orange peel. The things that she knows about the subject, she can talk about that really briefly. She's positioning herself as an expert on tea, which is what her book is about as well. Now, if she's prepared a recipe from the book, let's say in this case, she's made a scone. I'm not sure exactly what recipe, but I would just say she's made a scone. She could say something like this. This tea pairs well with this particular item. And she could talk about that scone. And she could say, this scone is actually featured in my book, Tea and Me Time, which I am the author of. So she's talking about the tea. She's talking about the savory. These are two things featured in the book. And then now she's showing the book. So she's tying it together. She's tying what's featured in the book to what she has in her hand. So that's connecting the viewer to her, what's featured in the book, and the book itself. And never at any point does she have to do a hard sell. All she's doing is demonstrating who she is, what she's passionate about, what she knows about her expertise, and how that person can use her book, because obviously if they're watching, they would have to be a lover of tea as well. So how they can create a National Tea Day any day, not just one day of the year. Okay, so I hope you can see how this all can tie together. So again, let me go back over the 3 points. She needs the props, in this case, a cup of tea and a recommended prepared item from her book. She needs to film herself, perhaps showing the book or coloring a page in the book. And then the final question is, well, next to the final question is, ask her audience, how will you celebrate National Tea Day? And then they can write those comments inside of her post. Say she posts this on Instagram, that can go inside of her Instagram post and or Facebook. Every time someone engages with her content and they write something in the comments, she needs to respond back. Because every time that she responds back, the algorithm kicks in and helps that post get out more organically. Okay? So again, that's really important. If you post this piece of content, don't do it in a drive-by fashion. Post it, ask a question, get a call to action, or put a call to action in there. In this case, how will you celebrate National Tea Day? When people put in their comments in the comments section, make sure you respond back to everyone. That way your post gets more engagement. Now, her next call to action that she would put in her post or in her video can say something to the effect, pick up a copy of my book, name of her book, and choose a recipe, either a savory or a sweet, and make it for yourself and prepare it with your favorite cup of tea and a page from my book, and make every day a National Tea Day at your house. She's making an invitation for them to go and buy her book. Now, what she could do is this. She could make the last call to action in the video be the first one. How will you celebrate National Tea Day? Let people comment, and every comment that she gets on that, she responds back with this one. Pick up a copy of my book, the name of the book, choose a recipe, savory or sweet, make it for yourself and prepare it with a cup of your favorite tea and a page from my book, and make every day a National Tea Day. Or she could say, would you like a link to go purchase my book? I'll DM you the link, or I can put the link in the comments to where they can go buy the book. So the only question I have for you is, having listened to this, do you think that this is something that you can do? And I'm going to say, absolutely you can. Now, will your video, especially if you have no background with that or you're uncomfortable with it a little bit, will your video be perfect? Probably not. And that is totally okay too, because you know what's better than perfect? Done. And I'll repeat that again. What's better than perfect? Done. Because like any other form of exercise, the more you do it, the stronger you get, the better you get, the better you know, the better you'll do. Don't be in your head about it is what I'm saying. Just put it out there and see what happens. I have found in my experience and in the experience of people that I follow is the videos and the content that they post that they thought, to be quite blunt, was crap, was the content that actually got the most engagement. They didn't like the way they looked. They didn't like the way they sound. They thought the lighting was off. They thought this didn't work, that didn't work. And those were the ones that did really well, were the ones where they spent days trying to choreograph it and edit it and polish it and all this stuff. It was okay at best. So again, done is better than perfect. I want to leave you with that. All righty. With that being said, I want to ask you a question. What did you think of this resource? The National Calendar Day. What did you think about this resource? Now, if it has inspired you in any kind of way, I'm going to highly recommend that you go and pick up a copy of my new special report, 36 short form video ideas for coloring book creators. I'll put the link in the show notes. When you sign up to get that report, you'll get an email from me, and I will also send out an invitation for you to join me for this workshop that I'm going to do, where I'm going to talk more about National Calendar Day and some other ideas, and how you can combine your life, your experiences, the theme of your book, what you're going to create a book around, and tie it into these ideas in this short form report, so that you can now start creating content to put out there into the world, to start doing the number one thing that you must be doing, which is creating an audience that leads to creating an email list, to have a list of people that you can sell your book to or other related products and services once they are done. This is something that I know for a fact that a lot of creators miss out on the opportunity. I work with my mentor students as I'm always talking about engagement, audience building, connection as your secret ingredient to increasing sales, getting sales and increasing sales. So every opportunity that you can get to connect with people, to let them see you, connect with them, eye to eye, heart to heart, the more you will get the sales that you're looking for. All right. So with that said, again, go to the links in the show notes. Everything is there about how to get the special report, With that, you'll get an invite to this bonus workshop I'm going to do. And let me know also, too, I'm going to put a link to my Coloring Book Creator Club Facebook group. I would love it if you would actually go to that Facebook group and comment. Because again, I would love to find out how this landed for you. And maybe once you get the report, what it inspired you to do. Check out the National Day Calendar website. Sign up for their email list if you'd like. That way you get daily reminders every day. Although I will tell you, you will get a lot of emails every day from them. But you can also go through the website to find the holidays that you want to specifically approach for this strategy for yourself. And of course, I would love to be support to you in any way that I can. As I said earlier, I work with all of my mentee students directly inside of my Coloring Book Creator Mentor program. I'll put the link to that in the show notes. And because you are listening to me on the podcast, I provided a $50 coupon code. If you want to join the Coloring Book Creator Mentor program in the society, you can get $50 off that course. And you actually get 3 months of coaching with me, live coaching with me. Everything from book idea to polished book to setting up your marketing and promotional and sales plan. So again, it's I believe, one of the only programs out here specifically for coloring book creators. Although I do work with people who make journals and make workbooks and planners as well. But my core focus is on coloring book creators. I would love to support you and help you take all of these resources and actually put a game plan together to actually get it out into the world. I'll put the link in the show notes to get that coupon code and join me in the Coloring Book Creator course. All right. So with that said, take this idea, run with it, get that free report, connect with me in the Facebook group, and let's really take a concerted effort to get ourselves out there. Because the world needs us. They need to see us. They need to connect with us. And if you can allow yourself to do that, the world is open to you. There's so many opportunities waiting for you, but you got to be willing to get in front. It's something I say to my members and students all the time. So with that said, this is Rodney Washington, your host, signing off.